19th. It is now 6:07 p.m. and we are going to do a roll call. Trustee Stowe. Present. Trustee Rosika. Trustee Warren.
Present.
Trustee Pico.
Present.
Trustee Lazan.
Here.
Trustee Richardson.
Here.
Trustee DeRocher is also here, as are all the department heads. And no Paul's missing.
No.
Is there any news about Paul?
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know any news.
baby girl.
Woohoo! We knew that, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did, okay. Yay, that's very happy news.
I didn't know that.
And Executive Director Stillman. And Jackie. Which is and Jackie Davis.
What's her name?
Okay, so are there any public comments? You're still officially public.
Yeah, for one more month, you're public.
Yeah. All right, so take it away, Jason.
Jason.
Right. Well. My first budget, so. Starting off, I guess, with the fact that, as Sandy predicted last year, the levy went up by $135,000 change, which was great. So I am currently, the current version, which assuming will change at some point, is using 9,000 less than that. 9. So so a couple of the big things to talk about will be these salary increases and insurance benefits. So I'm going to start small before we get to those and just mention a few of the other little highlights. We had a lot of it stayed the same, but a couple increases were for professional development and staff recognition. So I think ramping back up to pre-2020. I understand that we used to have a staff and trustee recognition dinner. So we put some money back into that. In terms of professional development, in 2024 is the PLA conference, which from my experience is the best conference. So I budgeted for one trustee and then myself and Mary Kelly to go. So that adds a little bit of expense because that's travel and lodging and whatnot, in addition to the conference fee. Paul at the moment has budgeted 2 staff, public services staff.
Where is the PLA?
Oh,
this year?
PLA is in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, very nice.
So it'll be, I think it's the end of April. And then Paul budgeted 2 public services staff to go to ILA down in Springfield, which is usually in October-ish. So it alternates, I think, every other year in Chicago. So that is a little, so theoretically, the fiscal year 25 will be cheaper because it won't have BLA costs and there won't be travel for lodging costs for ILA because it should be right. So another increase was for a consultant for the strategic plan, since the current strategic plan I believe ends next year, comes through the fiscal year. So if we wanted to hire a consultant to help do the planning for a new strategic plan, if we wanted that to happen and have it ready to be in place immediately following the end of the current strategic plan, then we'd want to hire a consultant this year. If we wanted to put it off and have some breathing time in between the plans for evaluation or data gathering, do that as well. I put $25,000 in there for consultants. I haven't gotten any quotes yet, so I'm not really sure. I'm hoping that is the high end of what we would want to pay anybody, but we haven't heard a few people throw numbers. Consultants seem to cost a lot of money. And then one of the last sort of increases was for people.
That makes me happy.
Digital materials seems to continue to be popular, and I think the Hoopla usage has been slowly creeping up. And so this year, the current fiscal year had $20,000 budgeted for it. So for the new fiscal year 24, I put in 30,000. I think Paul had requested 25, and it seems like it might be better to add a little bit more. So we can always, Google allows you to cap for, I think they have various ways to cap for checkouts or for price amount per day or per month. I think there's various ways to do it. So if we didn't want to spend the whole $30,000 on it, we could figure out a way to cap it so that keep it at our budgeted amount. But I'm always in favor of if people are checking out digital material and it's popular, it seems good to try.
Does that reflect any kind of a decrease for printed material?
Only very slightly. I think there was, I think we had a slight decrease in some of the CDs and DVD. Seems as though that is trending.
Yeah.
I'm assuming more and more people are probably doing the streaming services, so checking out DVDs less. And then a couple things that will possibly affect and add in a little bit more. For draft 2 would be, we got an updated quote on our cleaning services, and it might be a couple $1,000s more than we had put in. And then I forgot that Duncan and I have been discussing trying to get possibly a maker space or maker items, whether there's lots of discussion of where it would go, who would be in charge, and all of that. So there's a lot planned and what we would do with it, but it still seems like it's popular in library land. Lots of libraries do it. It seems to be a popular service, such as 3D printers and vinyl cutting. I don't know what the Cricut does. Is that vinyl cutting?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a variety of different sort of interstitial sort of equipment and supplies that you can buy. So we're not going to go for it all. We're trying to figure out what it is we can start with. But I forgot to add that to the budget.
Okay.
So, any questions or comments so far?
I do have one question.
Sure.
On your fiscal year 23 projected, that is projected, or is that the current status of the 2023 budget?
Projected. So I'm still learning the ins and outs of when some bills are paid throughout the year. So some guesswork on my part, but managers helped me to try and figure it out. So a lot of it was if it's something as of the end of March, we took 9 months worth and how much we had spent on that budget line so far, divided it by 9, see what the monthly was, and then multiplied it by
I was
12.
just wondering if there's some of them were quite a difference in the end, and I was curious. Thank you.
So that's just an average.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it could change next month, obviously, as we get
Right.
one month closer to the end, we'll hopefully those numbers are a little more accurate.
One question, I noticed that the last 2 years we've been negative by a fair amount. How long can we continue in that regard?
That is a great question, and a question I posed myself in my narrative there. Last year in Sandy's packet, she had mentioned that she thought it was sustainable due to the CPI being high this year, so we were going to get 5% increase in the levy, which the CPI is high again this year. So for the levy for 2023, you will get again if you continue to support maximizing the levy increase amount. And then
Support that.
and then I just kind of copied and pasted from last year all the things that Sandy had mentioned about new construction in non-tip areas. Cities planning, I think, for fiscal year 24 to do a special census to capture the population of all this new development that's going on. And so we can use those numbers for the per capita grant because that means the population is higher, which means the per capita grant should generate more money for us.
That's not really big.
Not a huge one, no, but, and then I'm still learning about the TIF districts, but she seemed to think that there would be a small increase. So I am still new to projecting that far out. So she seemed to think it was sustainable a bit. As I looked at it, I wasn't as positive of that, or at least how long it's sustainable, whether it's sustainable for 2 years, 3 years, or whether one more year, I'm not really sure. So I can try and get a better handle on that in the next month before May's meeting. But generally, and I never mentioned that I wanted to get a better grasp on that, because that is kind of new to me, projecting out like that. So it makes me a little nervous being having that negative amount for very long. So I would think that we wouldn't want to be have that big of a negative number for too much longer.
And I think that we've got a history of levying for the full amount available.
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah.
understand.
It's kind of a given.
Okay.
So
That's what I was hoping, but I didn't want to assume. So
Yes. We're that kind of board that wants to get all we can from the tax.
we'd like to give all we can too.
And that's
so-
exactly right. We want our programming to be robust and our materials to be very, very robust. So, yes.
And I'm glad that you're considering a makerspace. I suggested that, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, and that was, maybe not, but what was,
What we talking about using that space downstairs for?
something like that, but then there was other thoughts for that, and then there was the thought that they couldn't afford to upgrade it to whatever it was with the budget that we had for the
Yeah.
renovation. So that was gonna just lie fallow and see what fell out in the near future before they went and tried to do anything substantial with that.
Yeah, I know we couldn't do it with the construction,
Right,
but I know we were planning on doing something like that in the future.
right. I think we had grandiose plans that got brought back to reality. As plans often
Green
are.
screen room and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's thinking big, and then
Yeah.
there's starting small. So even if we had, one 3D printer and maybe a cry cut machine, seems to be the most popular vinyl cutter at the moment. I don't know, I haven't talked out with people, but there's the back, and then the back of the computer lab, there's a big long shelf that doesn't appear to be getting much use. So it seems like that could be space where those items could sit, and then they're right there in the computer lab if you want. But we also have the steam room down in the basement, lower level as well. So there's a possibility we could maybe rearrange and adapt it so that those things can go in there as well, although it seems pretty well filled with a lot of services. So.
I thought it
But-
might serve well as a roller rink, but.
Have to do a lot of cleaning out for that.
Better check.
Yes, we have a lower level. No
Yeah,
basement here.
Right.
No, it's a lower level. Okay. All right, so let's go to the big guns. Does anybody have any other questions? Actually, kind of shocked. So, that's good.
Well, I will just say that the shortfall you get now is less than the one we started. We had, you know what I'm saying, the budget the 23 had a larger shortfall. So you've made some progress.
So, but it's very small, considering how large that shortfall is. So, so yeah, so that is something to consider with the next two items. So the first being salaries. As you know, the inflation remains high. CPI, the CPI this year was, in December, was 6.5%. Down slightly, last year it was 7%. And then the Social Security cost of living increase in January was 8.7%. Last year is 5.5%. So that obviously, trying to keep up with cost of living is always challenging, but it's nice to do if you can. So I presented possibly too many scenarios, but 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, 8% increase scenarios. So I suppose the question is, so the current year that we did, that Sandy just did, had been, I think, 6% across the board. So it was a 4% COLA increase with staff having potential to earn up to 2% merit.
Right.
So that's something to consider, whether you want to do something similar again this year, or with the ongoing high inflation, if you just want to do straight COLA
No, I think we
increase.
should, I think we should have a merit piece of it.
Yeah.
I feel pretty strongly about that.
I agree.
I would like to advocate if we think we can do it, since the social security cost of living increase was 8.7% and the CPI is 6.5, that we should at least be meeting that lower 6.5% and maybe consider doing 6.5 or 7 as our total number. Just because things aren't getting any cheaper out there.
So you're saying a total number with your
That's a total.
merit plus your COLA.
Correct. And anybody have thoughts about that?
Jason, what did you build in at this point? 6 plus 2, right?
He just built in 6%.
6%, but that's including, yeah, a 2% kind of cushion for
Okay.
if people are out and we need other people to fill in some extra shifts, that sort of thing, and just generally having a cushion. So I can make that a 1% cushion. Should shrink it a little bit as well, and maybe make 7% overall a little more doable.
What are your thoughts about 7%?
What percentage of our staff has gotten a merit increase in the last year?
Don't know that off the top of my head. Sorry.
Majority.
I think it's majority.
Yeah,
I would say kind of.
yeah, but majority of 51% or 81%. It's a big difference.
Oh, I guess I'm thinking of how many.
We say the
got
word
max.
most. Is most a good way to characterize that?
I would say last year probably 90%.
Okay.
It varied though.
Yeah, it did vary.
A percentage.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
a merit increase. I did payroll that. And yeah, it was.
But they did not always see the higher merit percentage.
Correct. That's what she said. Yeah.
That's what I just wanted to.
Right. No, I'm not just asking because, I mean, as you said, things are getting any cheaper, so. We want to keep people at a cost of living and not penalize them, but if it's that high, then that's pretty good.
So what if we did a 5% COLA and a 2% merit? Do you think we should do 4 and 3?
Jason, do you have any, I guess I'm going to use the word benchmarking statistics that you can share? Do you have any sense of, from your networking, what direction other libraries are going of our caliber?
Sure.
I know that's a difficult question. It may be more to Ian.
I don't
to you.
necessarily know the numbers per se, but in the couple directors meetings that I went to last month, it seemed as though some of the directors, I can't think of which libraries they were and what size they are in comparison to us, but they seemed as though they wanted to definitely keep up with the COLA. But I think it all depends on budgets and folks such as yourself supporting increases. This is all lovely and new to me because coming from a place where this,
You were told.
I'm told, and we did not get this increase every year. So we lost a lot of, non-recuperable funds over several years, which was very distressing. So this is lovely. But it's that was a long way to say, I think some libraries are tight on their budget, so they just can't afford to do cost of living raise. So like they would like to, I think a lot of directors were lamenting that they would like to, but they can't afford it. So
And I think that's something we have to consider too. I'd love to, but can you really afford it?
And I would say, is it better to, and again, everybody's excited about something like the maker thing, but a library is not good unless there's people to run the library. And we are risking losing people because we're not adequately compensating them at some level. That would be a concern for me.
I agree, if we can't keep staff at cost of living, if we can't afford to keep them at cost of living, we're doing something. And I like 5.2 because in good economic times, 4.3 would be great, but times right now, I think 5.2 is better.
It's getting tight out there. So do you think that you could do some adjustments and come back to us next month with some projections about what that might look like?
Sure.
And I mean, there's probably places like the hoopla budget that we could scale back, and the makerspace and other places. I mean, those were just very small little pots. But there's probably a series of those things that we could scale back on so that we could, in fact, try to make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think if we can look at other places, just shading a little bit here and there, I'd rather see funds devoted to personnel. That's my take.
Yeah, I will
Okay,
work on that forward.
so are we in consensus that we want to move forward with the 5 and 2 idea? Is there anyone who's really not, I don't want to take a vote on it, but I'd like to know if we're in consensus.
Well, what are the, is there another alternative? They said
Oh, there's-
5 and 2.
There was 4 and 3.
Yes, I know, but
We
what,
could go
maybe,
5, he's even got the 8% scenario if we wanted to do 5.
no, but all of these, I understand,
Yeah.
but all of these are not necessarily viable. Are there perhaps 2 that we direct him to figure? That's what.
So then you can see what the.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I can certainly, I can cross off the lower ones and 8%. If you wanted me to do 0.5%, I can do that as well. I'm impressed and thrilled that you are interested in supporting the staff this way. So, yeah, how about I will do the total 7%, so that's a 5% goal and 2% merit, and then
Maybe also give us a scenario for 6.5 total.
6.5 total. Okay.
All
And
right.
maybe somebody said on the side, using a hand, and maybe that's, I'm having a little trouble hearing it there. So 4.5 and a merit, a larger merit. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That still totals out to 7.
Oh, okay.
So 4.5 and 2.5?
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
that would work, but I'd rather see the.
I mean,
Because the 0.5%.
those
There's so many
two,
options.
yeah,
It's not gonna really matter.
it's not gonna matter that much in the bottom line.
And I don't think 4.5 is. it's a little- But
Yeah.
if we're going higher than 7, I'd like to see the increments happen.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna try to do a combined higher than 7.
No.
I don't think that we can really afford that, but I'd really
Again.
like to try to see,
Sometimes I'm not hearing everything, so.
okay, what it looks like. Okay,
No, that's fair, because 8% is a lot.
it's
So,
a lot, but honestly, in my opinion, it's not too much. It's been a tough year.
Well, that's the thing is that I feel like with the staff, it's one of the huge pillars of the library is built on. If we don't have a great staff and aren't able to reward them, then sometimes it's not necessarily, it's just thinking of the staff, what's the point of having the materials?
Well, it's like I said, I mean, if you don't have people to run the library, what does it matter what you have in the library?
And we as a board have a commitment to retention. And, that's why we're interested in seeing some of the changes come through, like that you made with the changing the position titles that was appropriate. And also converting some positions to full-time when we can. And then the trying to keep up with cost of living and also the health benefits. That's all gonna lead us toward better retention.
I agree.
And being able to attract people. like our illustrious executive director.
I just know how far we've come from when I started, that when we did have a morale problem in the library and just that, you know, again, some of it was some staff members sort of bringing things down, and but just what a change in this, bringing so many new staff members, and just, it's just amazing the difference. I mean, just say it's the huge quality. And I think it's why it's such a better place to work. It's brought, you know, more people interested in.
Time to move forward.
This is all beautiful music to my ears to see this refreshing support of.
I certainly hope that you all feel supported by it.
Yes.
All right, you think you have your,
Yep.
All right, let's move on to health insurance.
All right, so the health insurance. I know you all made a huge change this last year, and it's literally only been 3.5 months. So it seems weird to be planning more increases already. I have to keep reminding myself that some of the things that I learned about when I first started are still also new, in addition to me. So, so currently we are paying for 90% of the premium for employees of the lowest rate plan, and then covering 50% for any of the spouse, child, family coverage. So, which is amazing. So from what I'm hearing from what you all said and notes Sandy had left of wanting to going after improving the benefits. So I made multiple scenarios for that as well. For increasing it 95, 55%, 100%, 50%, 155%, and then what I actually put in the budget, which had originally been my intention, but shouldn't going 100%, 60%. So I'm not sure how they all feel exactly, but part of me feels as though we should definitely aim for the 100% for the employee, and then being able to increase for family, I think is great. So
I have to agree that, sorry, interrupted.
Nope.
I have to agree that we should aim for covering 100% of the employee. I think that's really important. It's the kind of message that we want to send, as opposed to a different kind of message. And the dependence part is a little bit harder because it really, I'm always concerned about equity. I'm always concerned about equity.
sure.
And when an employee has more dependents and another employee doesn't have so many dependents, it doesn't feel quite as equitable. So I think 60% is really generous. And I would be more interested in seeing maybe 100%, 55%. That's my personal thought. I mean, it's still in the, we're still moving forward. I just don't want to move too fast, and I really want to make sure we get that COLA thing
Right. No,
covered.
that makes sense. I mean, we can even go with increasing the employee and keeping the 50% family for now, and go 150%. I will say it's still all new to me, the idea that we are paying for, I think it's wonderful, but the idea of paying for family insurance as well is new to me. So I was blown away seeing that. So I think that's amazing that you've already done that, but I also realize that starts, right, there's an equitable issue to that, but it also just really on the monetary end, it starts adding a lot of costs
It does.
as well.
I
So,
think there were 2 points there. The equity is a big concern, because you are one individual, it's definitive. But to that point, our employees that work here are our greatest resource. And therefore, we need to really think about what's going to make life for them so they can come to work and do their best job. So I would be happy with either 150 or 155, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's not that large of a differential, knowing that we may have to cut back on some tangible items to support that.
I'd just like to see us continue to move a little closer. like, right now, we're at 90 and 50. I want to definitely try to get to 100 for the employee
Yes.
Yeah.
portion. And maybe not, maybe we could do 52% or, I just want to keep moving. So that when we come back and review again next year, we can keep moving forward. We don't feel like we have to be like, oh no, we went way too far.
Well, and maybe that
But it
is the
is-
answer to divide the difference between 50
Yeah,
55 as a compromise, and it does show reaction.
But also remember,
Positive.
100 is moving forward.
Yes, absolutely.
So I
It's just a question of how fast you want to move forward.
Right.
And I wasn't sure when you had decided to add this benefit this past year, how quickly you're wanting to go after it. So that's why I put in the most aggressive option, but I think it is perfectly reasonable considering this is brand new and it's literally been 3.5 months. If you wanted to go at it slower and do it more incrementally over
Yeah,
time,
and
because that makes it a little more doable for the budget.
yeah.
Well, then maybe
So-
95, 55 is the answer.
Or maybe 150. is-
100 and 100% for employee and just maintaining the 50%.
Yeah,
And I, like I
Because
said.
in future
I
years, the
purposely-
100 isn't going anywhere, so you
Yeah.
right.
move
You
forward
max
the other
that
way.
out, so as you come forward, you can
Yes.
continue to raise the.
So I mean, we could go, if you're, depending on how slowly or fastly you wanted to go, fastly, that's really. You could do 95%, 50% this year, and then the following year go for 100%.
All right, why don't you come back
I
with 2 scenarios, 95 and 50 and 150. We really have to look at the whole picture
Okay.
and how that relates to the COLA.
What was it, Barbara, 95 and
95, 50, we're gonna keep the dependent benefit the same,
then 100?
and then 100 and the 50% for the,
Okay,
for
so I
the,
think those are good choices.
So I have a question. At the county where we have 3 tiers, essentially, we have the employee plus spouse, and then the employee plus family. So do we just have the 2 tiers then, just the employee or
No.
employee? and oh,
We have 4 tiers, so there's employee only, there's employee plus spouse, employee plus children, and employee plus family.
Oh, okay.
So, when I was building in the buffers, which Sandy had mentioned she had done, I was having trouble accounting for that in the new cost, but maybe that's just because there's been a lot of staffing changes this last year, so. But I know when I was at Almond Park, we had 1 year where somebody, was no longer, I think, split from their partner, and so was no longer on their insurance, so needed our insurance. And then another person's husband lost their job, and so had to come on. So that was 2 employees in the same year who we had not budgeted for. So that was why it hurts a little looking at it because it adds quite a bit, but I just, in terms of that, thought it's probably good to build in the buffer in case something like that happens. We have, as far as I know, Julie is staying on her husband's insurance, but she had twins on the same day as Paul had his baby.
oh my gosh, I didn't know that
So
either.
I was gonna bring that up in the main meeting as part of the announcement, but yes, so 3 new library babies all born on.
Oh my gosh,
So you just never know
that is so cool.
Yeah.
what could happen, so adding these cushions, and I just picked the random in between. It's about like up from employee only, the next cheapest one is employee plus children, and then the next is employee plus spouse, and then family is a lot more. So I just picked the employee plus spouse is the kind of in between one to budget with as the cushions. So I look at it and it adds a lot and makes me want to make it one of them as a cushion as opposed to 2, but then I think back to my previous experience and not knowing. The hope is we budget for a cushion of 2 people changing their insurance, and we don't actually need it. That's the hope.
Yeah,
So,
but it's good to be planning it.
but you will notice that even just keeping the current ratio that we've got, adding 2 cushion, it adds in $27,000. So, yeah. So I can also, I'll keep that information in there when I build in.
Okay. Did you get your answers?
So I
So you're gonna need
will,
to come back to us with those
Fine.
scenarios and basically, kind of a narrative on how that affects the rest of the budget, where else we were able to shave. so that we're not kicking ourselves in the foot.
I do think, there's one that we probably should help Jason with an answer for. On page 8, he has a question, should the new director get an increase? Sorry, Jason, but I don't want you to go through all the work. And then. So, and maybe you don't want to talk about that, but I did note that question, and I know we didn't address it.
So
And your thoughts?
my first thought is that there should be no merit raise for me at this point. Right, I just didn't know. So my question was more specific to whether you wanted to be including it full or making a smaller
That's why I
percentage
didn't
or
have
not
an
at all.
opinion. I wanted to know what you were looking at, and COLA is fine with me.
Well, it's fine.
I
Also-
don't know at this point whether we would be able to know what type of merit.
I'm too new.
But, yeah,
so-
but COLA, that's why I didn't have an opinion on it.
but I mean,
Yeah, COLA should be across the board, to every employee, no matter if they
Yeah.
were hired last month or last year or 10 years ago, so it should be.
Not
So
want-
we
I
had
did not
hired-
want to assume. Any-
I know,
Oh, okay.
all for supporting.
Very good.
I too have had an entire career of being under supported.
Yeah.
So.
Major, under support.
Anyway, okay, so I think we got your answers to your
Most of-
yellow questions.
I just remembered one extra question regarding the insurance. So what in my narrative there, I can't remember where I put it. I think it's the last paragraph on page 11. I mentioned the fact that what I budgeted for was any of these changes taking place on July 1st. But I realized that is only 6 months after we have started the 90-50 sharing altogether. So I can we can plan for the insurance ratio changing on July 1st, or we could stick with
Oh.
January 1st,
January.
which is what we did for this year.
I would say January, just say.
To be consistent, but.
Yeah.
that
But
would
at
be-
some point, we're gonna need to have it aligned with our budget year.
Well, no, we can build the budget to reflect that, for the net, for January to June 24 would be higher than July to December, and add them together. That could be done.
So I mean, I know that at least at the county, our insurance always starts January 1, and it's December 31st, whereas the budget starts December 1 and runs to November 30th.
Do you know when our
It's always-
insurance
I think it's January.
is it January 1? Then we might as well have it aligned with that. Okay, so when we're
That's
building the budget this year and in the future, we probably should keep that in mind. That we're gonna be doing it. in
Making
this-
any changes regarding insurance.
Changes will happen
January.
halfway through the year.
I'm already budgeting half of the year with the current prices and the second half of the year with the increases that I made.
Right.
So I can do the same with.
Okay, good.
Makes my spreadsheet more complicated, but I can do it.
That's what spreadsheets are for.
That's right, spreadsheets are fun. So-
And all those columns you can hide and expand.
I do have a question, and I can't find it now, so maybe you can direct me. Stop, Vicki. Accounting, it seemed like the monies that we are needing to devote to accounting has increased drastically. Maybe I just read it wrong. But I don't, if you can tell me what page it's on, maybe I can make sense of my notes, because I can't find it. I know we need accounting services. Oh, contractual accounting. You're budgeting.
Can you tell us what page you're on?
Yes, I can. I can find it. My first draft, page 7. It's line item 6205-01. Last year, we budgeted 9660, and we're up to 15,000. That seemed like a rather large increase to me. Was there something that's gonna happen that you anticipate that that's gonna be such a necessary increase? It just stood out to me.
The general accounting services, I think, went up a little bit.
A little bit. not a lot.
I think,
Asking for it.
so I don't know enough about the Gatsby report. Let me find it on here. I believe,
And if you got that number from Sickich, that's probably including that.
oh, so here is the issue as I'm looking at our current budget, which is why the 9660 seems lower. It's because I think there was a typo as I'm looking now, over and show
There
you.
was.
It said in the budget that Sandy had made, it said $660 instead of 6,600. So it was missing the zero.
Ah,
So I
As long
think
as the 15
That-
contractual, it was supposed to be actually higher than
Okay.
it was.
As long as it just seemed like such a big jump, I was.
that would completely explain that discrepancy.
Yes.
And then the only other thing I have is I wonder if there's any room in the budget for the library to purchase and handle and have training for a defibrillator.
I believe our safety committee has maybe talked about it.
Okay.
I know there are grants out there. I got a grant
Yes, it would be grant.
at my last library to get one.
Yes. If we could-
And then I know at my last library as well, we had the fire department come and do training. I don't know if they do that here as well, but
I think they do, but I just had. For some
Yeah.
reasons, I think.
Yeah,
that
I'm
would
pretty
be-
sure there are grants because our school just got a new defibrillator.
I think it would be an excellent thing for the library. to have.
As long as we're talking about that, how about Narcan?
I don't know if that has been talked about in the safety committee or not, but definitely you will consider it. Yeah, I think it's various things that are in the works.
And that ought to be also some kind of,
Training.
well, yeah, there's not much training going on. there. It's-
Just have to know. for sure.
There's no start on it, it needs a spring.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been budgeted for though,
But
I don't,
in this current budget.
I don't think it sounds like it doesn't need to be, but that's the only reason I brought it up is in case there is some money that needs to go into the budget.
I mean, we
Let's
can
do
always
grants.
put in something small just as a placeholder, just in case. But yeah, I will
Thank you.
work on that as well. Yeah.
Okay. Other
When
questions?
safety, they're already doing like active shooter training.
Four. Yeah, is that like Alice?
Actually, last year, we had the police department come here and they were actually shooting bullets at us. We were supposed to be
I
crazy.
said they were Nerf pellets, but they were
Nerf?
hard.
Nerf gun?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're doing that, like yearly, are you doing
That
that?
was at a staff day.
Okay.
Last time.
Because the shootings are going up, so,
Yeah, in public places and
Yes.
schools, for sure.
yeah.
That could be nightmares.
That always gives me, it's necessary, but it also just seems
Girls on
unnecessarily
safety,
traumatic.
Yeah. The
Who's
girls
on
on
safety
safety.
team?
Very
Kathy,
good.
Ian, Duncan, Mary Kelly,
Mandy and Debbie. And Jorge, sorry.
Oh, it's a good
What is that?
robust committee, the safety committee.
Oh,
We just established it just, end of January, early February. We've been pretty aggressive about like a twice a month meeting schedule. We got a little coming off. We try to pick a day where all of those 7 are typically here in the building. They're doing well a little bit and that kind of thing, but we do have a very long list of items to have. Let's see, unless it's still on.
You know, I'd really love to have a regular update. I don't know if you want to put that in as part of your own report, Kathy, or if you want to just have like a little separate. I'd just like to have an update to know what you guys are working on and what's coming down the pike. And it's important, you know, just because it'd be nice to be able to be articulate about what the things that we're doing. Like I I think I had a vague sense that you guys had undergone that training. I didn't really have it in my brain. And are you all certified in Alice?
No, it followed along the Alice precepts, but it was not official training.
Okay.
We had the 2 police officers come in here, they showed a few videos, but it was not official. I believe there's some reason why we couldn't call it that, they can't call it that.
Oh, okay.
But-
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a proprietary name.
Yes, and, you know, financial, issues regarding that as well in terms of. So I think it was I got some feedback from the staff that day. Some really thought it was great, others not so much. But I thought they did a good job of making us very much aware of some scenarios, and then laid out some scenarios here, like,
I just never know.
you don't know. But my report was that everything, they did a walkthrough prior to our training day. And there's big, we figure out we have a big gap in our ability to communicate with everybody in the event of an emergency. So that is what the safety committee, that has been a big thrust of the safety committee. Like the first thing that we have tackled.
That's great. So yeah, if we could just, it doesn't even have to be monthly, but every once in a while, it'd just be nice for us to get an update.
I will, okay.
Great.
Especially, I think this is so important too, because it just helps you be more familiar with the building and alternatives when an emergency occurs. You know, rather than just think of the absolute, like leaving the building or just going downstairs or something that, okay, if I'm here and this happens, then, you know, I can't get to the regular route.
And that's what some of the training was, they had us be in different parts of the.
Should be typical of the day. All right, I think I want to try to give us a little bit of a break before we start a regular meeting unless you have anything else, Jason? Does anybody else have any other questions, queries?
Yeah, I would just say thank you, Jason. for your- I know this
Department
is your first
heads,
one.
do we have anything you guys need to stand up and say, but what about? Okay. You have no idea the history of that word in this group. It's
Oh,
pretty
really?
hilarious.
I went to St. Charles Library just because I love libraries, and I'm like, oh, there's their bookmobile seat on the parking lot. Going in, then I come out and in pulling up their minivan also, I'm like, man, they got a minivan.
They decorated really pretty.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, it was a former board member's dearest wish
Much
to
more
have a
population.
bookmobile.
That was just so-
But we pretty much always had to say, sorry, it's not gonna happen. So anyway. All right, okay, let's take a break and try to reconvene right at 7.
We need to have a motion.
Oh,
Adjourn.
oh, can I, was that your motion?
Sure, I moved that.
I'll second. Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Warrenville Public Library District. Wednesday, April 19th at 7:03 p.m. We do a roll call. Trustee Richardson.
Here.
Trustee Luzon.
Here.
Trustee Pika.
Present.
Trustee Warren.
Present.
Trustee Ritzika.
Present.
Trustee Stoll.
President.
Trustee DeRocher is present. And also present are Executive Director Stulman and Jackie Davis and our department heads, Kathy Gatos and Duncan, what's your last name, Jones, and Ian Stevens and Lori Rex and Mary Kelly. Okay. I would like a motion to approve the agenda.
Removing anything?
Oh, I don't think you have to go to closed session on here.
No.
Okay, right.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I second.
Motion was made by Trustee Stoll and seconded by Trustee Ritzika. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Presentations. We have a board member who's finishing her term and not able to be back. But we still will have a little bit of Cindy's presence with us. But I'd like to talk a little bit, just for a moment, on the commitment that you made to the library before you even became a board member.
Yes,
It's a very long and illustrious commitment.
I loved every minute.
And then once you were no longer doing that, you decided to run for the board, and we have really benefited from your
And that was an honor. Thank you.
wisdom and knowledge. And so we're so appreciative. We're so very, very happy that you gave us your community service in this way.
Well, I love the library, my library. I love my library.
And I just want to say thank you so much. And here's a small little certificate of
Thank you,
appreciation.
Barbara. I enjoyed working with you.
Right.
You will be missed, Cindy.
Thank you.
Anybody, any other board members want to say anything? No? Okay, all right, we'll just move on. Public comments? Oh, public?
Oh, no.
All right.
It's your last chance.
Do you have any correspondence other than the thing that came from me, right? Okay. Then we're gonna go ahead and move on with item 7, the consent agenda, which is not very long this month. Woo.
Compared to last month.
Yeah.
Item A, approve minutes of the March 15, 2023 regular board meeting. B, receive and file financial report for March 2023. C, approve updates and 2.65% market adjustment to the library's wage scale effective July 1st, 2023.
All right. Any discussion? No, we're gonna go ahead and,
I move that we accept the consent agenda as read.
sorry. Right, sorry. Now, is there any discussion?
Yes.
I forgot that
I
part.
have dash questions, and I doubt, maybe Jackie knows one. I noticed that our equipment maintenance is well above 90% of the budget already. Did we?
We had some boiler repairs.
And then here I am back again on my accounting. It's probably due to what you said, but it's 111, it's 112% above the budget. And I just was wondering, it could be that same issue that you spoke about, the typo caused that, so. I know, now I understand. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do a roll call vote. Trustee Richardson. For the consent agenda. That would be an
I'm not
aye.
used to a roll call vote for that.
Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Ritzika.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
And Trustee DeRosa votes aye. The consent agenda is passed. On to the regular agenda. Could I please have a motion for item A?
I move that we pay invoices in the amount of $71,812.69 for the period of March 16, 2023 through April 19, 2023, including electronic payments and checks number 9315 to 9362, with check number 9360 voided.
Second.
The motion was made by Trustee Stoll and seconded by Trustee Warren. Is there any discussion? All right, we're gonna do another roll call vote. We'll start over here. Trustee Stoll. Aye. Trustee Ritzika.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee DeRosa votes aye. That is, that has passed. For item B, could I have a motion,
I
please?
move that we transfer $200,000 from the commercial checking account to the operating checking.
Second.
Motion was made by Trustee Pika and seconded by Trustee Warren. We'll do another roll call vote. Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Ritzika. Trustee Stoll. Aye. Trustee DeRosa votes aye. Motion passes. Okay. Now to unfinished business. the Warhol Pop Art Challenge exhibit. I'm so excited that they were able to get a hold of Vivian Lund. I love that she's going to be a part of this, but also that Leona Schmidt is also going to be part of that. I don't know the other two people because they've been dead a long time, but I'm excited. I think they're really great, and I'm so excited that Paul was able to follow through on this. So I don't think you have anything to, you have to make a motion on that.
Nope, it was just information. One added thing is that, I think Paula at the village is going to be working on putting together, but we're going to have a Saturday, June 3rd, a ribbon cutting ceremony for it.
Here,
So,
yeah.
still working out the details, so I'll let you know when it happens. Let you know.
And
That's 3 hours.
Patty can have it, but I think that Vivian is the only one that's living.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I
Leona
heard you
Schmidt.
say get a hold of Leon Schmidt, and I was like.
Well, no. No, I just said I was glad she was part of it, but I did know her, so.
I'm glad there's a living person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, quick question, did we finalize where we were gonna display these, or is that, okay?
We did on the windows over in the services.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it's gonna look great there. And it'll remain up for quite some time, yeah.
I mean, officially, it's up from June to September, but I don't know that they asked for them back, so I'm assuming theoretically we can keep it up as long as we want.
I love it.
Yeah, I think
Anyway.
it's gonna be fun.
And if it moves, you feel will it go to the historical society then, or does anybody?
I'm not really sure. I'll follow up and ask about.
I just was curious where the final destination in 2025 is.
I'm assuming we keep, but I will find out for sure.
All right, we're gonna move on to the 9B, the Committee on Local Government Efficiency. I'm not sure that we actually do need to take action on this.
Yes.
I have already contacted, see, it's kind of like the mafia. You think that you're leaving the board and then they keep pulling you back in. Cindy has agreed to be one of our 2 community members who will be on this committee. And I also reached out to Amy Arlo, who is a former board member here, and she was happy to serve. So she is going to also serve on this committee. And it says the first meeting has to take place by June 10th. And so I'd like to propose that we have our first meeting as a committee of the whole, or not a committee of the whole, but at 6 p.m. before the next board meeting on May 17th.
We're not doing a budget meeting?
No, I actually discussed with, sorry, I probably should have discussed with all of you. I discussed with Jason that I thought that he could do a narrative for our next board packet based on changes that we asked him to make. And that we kind of narrowed it down to just a few things that we need to give guidance on, that he could let us know what some of the things that he shaved off, and that
Budget.
and that we could do the budget as part of our regular board meeting. I don't think we need to meet in advance. So, so I think that we can do this. And I'm not sure that we need to meet for a good long time either. I was thinking maybe we could meet at 6:30.
Yeah.
Before the meeting,
And then if there's an issue with the budget, we still have.
a little wiggle room, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, if we meet at 6, there's an issue with the budget, you
Well,
know,
we
at
will know
6:30,
next
we could
month.
do that,
We need another budget meeting.
yeah.
So I'm not sure what we have to take action on.
I wasn't sure that you really needed to, but I put it there just in case. But I think it's just forming a new committee, so I don't know that you, and it's required by the state, so I don't know that you really need to put it.
I
Because
found,
it involves all of you, it involves me and our 2 community members, so I don't think you really need to vote on it. So
I
as long
found
as you're
this,
agreeing on a date and time, I think we're good.
I found the memo from Ansel Glick to be really helpful.
Yes.
Really laid it all out, and having this sample report really gives us some structure around it. I don't think this is gonna be that hard. I think it's gonna be hardest on Jason. Because a lot of the information gathering he will have at his disposal. So he's gonna have to get the answers to a lot of this stuff for us. But I don't see this as being a really difficult, the biggest questions, if you look on page 30 and 31 of the packet, it basically, you know, we need to ask the question. I think we'll be very good at saying what we are doing with our efficiencies. What we really have to spend some time thinking about is what we can do more efficiently. And then devising our recommendations. That's probably gonna, you know, take us a little, not a lot of time, but a little bit of time. And so, Connie, I don't know if you've been following along, but as a new board member. Oh, you are?
I'm one of their people first.
Oh, okay. Well, as a board member, you're on this group as well, because it includes all the board members. So, so I'm not actually that worried about it. It doesn't seem half or even remotely as long as I was expecting it to be. So I think we're going to be able to manage this pretty well. I'm hoping that we can have our first meeting in May. And it says that we need to have 2 other meetings and complete it, but within 18 months of our first meeting. So we have plenty of time.
So when are we having this meeting?
May 17th, which is our next board meeting, and I propose that we meet at 6:30. Does that seem reasonable to everybody?
I don't know if I'll be here, but
Okay.
we'll see.
According to what Ansel Glick sent us, we only need to have
Since we have a
a
quorum.
quorum of
six, I
the
think.
committee. Yeah.
Okay, so my only other question is to say, we need officers then, like, are we gonna have a secretary that takes minutes, or?
Don't believe so. We just need a chairperson, which is they said typically the board president, but it doesn't have to be. But otherwise, I don't believe so. Because it's,
I'm not sure that this is a committee. Well, I suppose our other committees, if we have it. We'll probably need to have somebody take notes.
from the
We can decide that at the next meeting.
That's true. From the webinar I mentioned, it made it sound as though probably the director is going to be doing most of the support work and taking the notes.
I think that sounds like a fine
I'll be putting
idea.
together the agenda for you and being the person who gathers all the information, so it's something.
A hero.
One thing to keep in mind is they do recommend, and somebody sent out a new memo today. I don't think it was Ansel, I think it was somebody else, but presumably all of you have taken your open meetings action training. You have.
I had to do something for open meetings in order to run.
Okay. But our 2, we will, I don't,
You will
Okay.
have, you will
well,
have.
you will as a new member.
You will have to do one.
Yeah.
But you have a certain amount of time after being elected to get information.
They did encourage that your 2 public members, which you've already done, so that's it's easy. The 2 public members appointed to the committee should also take, they said they should strongly encourage them to do so. I don't know if you could force them to, because by the time we finish up, I might have already passed, but you've already done it, so great. So
I'm not sure that when Amy was a board member that we had to do
Yeah,
it.
we did.
if you've got her,
Yeah, she did.
if you've got her
Okay.
contact information or email. then
If
I
you've
can-
done it once, is that enough or does it have to be
We have
current?
to do it.
Should have to do that.
Can you please get information from both Connie and
By-
Amy about
Oh,
when
Online.
it'll be an online thing.
It is, I'll send you the information about it.
So,
Thank you.
can I clarify? So we're not having any more committee of the whole on the budget?
No, I think we can, I think that he can come back to us with a narrative similar to the narrative he gave us this, except not quite as extensive. We really want to focus in on the COLA and the health insurance.
I just want to make sure
If you feel like you think that we do need to meet, we can schedule it.
well, if we're gonna, so our goal is to adopt it at the June meeting, then, correct?
Yeah.
If there's anything else that we would need to talk about other than that, I don't know if there is, but I'm just,
Isn't that when we usually adopt it in June?
yes.
Yeah.
Or May, so.
Yeah, we have done that in May when we haven't had, but there's almost always some things that have to be adjusted a little bit. So. Okay. All right. I just want to be sure, Jerry, that you feel that If you feel like we need to meet, then we can.
I don't know, because I don't know what he brings back. This is what I'm thinking. I need to shave things off too. So are we going to need to have a meeting before the June meeting to adopt it as a whole? You're gonna bring back information, that's great. And I would assume there'll be a second draft. Are you gonna make changes then to support code? You know, how does, maybe I'm just still not on the right page yet.
Well, that's kind of how we've done it in the past, when we've given guidance to the director.
But he's bringing you a couple scenarios. So the draft is gonna give you next month. He's gonna need to know our decision on which scenario to make a final draft for us to review. And then.
But we can do that in the board meeting. We don't have to have a separate
As
committee
long
of
as
the whole.
everybody's happy doing it, yeah.
I just didn't want to have to take additional time that I didn't think that we'd need. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that long
Yeah.
of a discussion.
It's fine, I just wanted to point out that if he's bringing choices, you're not gonna have your final draft next month.
And that's okay, because we can adopt it in June. I think we're going to give guidance and then we'll adopt it in June.
So that's what I was-
Usually, yes, that usually, we've had the review or the committee of the whole meeting, and then it's usually brought back to us, and then if there is any additional tweaking, then, but in June is when we approve it.
Right.
The final draft is part of the June board.
Right.
When are we going to have the next strategic plan?
We finished up in 24.
Yes.
That our current plan ends in 24, and we as a body need to decide how we want to proceed on that. There's no law that says you have to have another one in place immediately upon the old one.
No, I was
Ending.
thinking about this report here. We've got our committee's recommendations regarding increased accountability and efficiency. You don't have to have anything there. You say we're doing a mighty fine job and we're happy with the way it's turning out. So it's an unfunded mandate.
Right.
Kill
You
two
get
birds
what
with
you
one
pay for.
stone and create an efficiency with the forest preserve.
Yeah, because we got one of their members on our body.
That's part of it too. You have to talk about. cooperating.
Right, I mean, and that was really nice the way that Ansel really
Yeah.
laid that all out for us. I feel like we're gonna be able to get through this pretty quick. I don't know, I'm optimistic.
That's a good way. to start.
Yeah, before Friday, before I saw the webinar and read through this, I was just like, I don't, there's no information or very little, it's sparse, and then after seeing that, and then talking through it. Okay, this is gonna be so bad.
Really helpful, yeah. Okay, so I don't think we have to take any action on this particular local government efficiency. We've got our, I mean, the original meeting is supposed to be to decide on who's going to be in it, but I've already appointed our two community members, so we're already on our way. Going on to new business, we don't really have any, so we're going to go to the director's report on page 32.
I have a question. When are we gonna talk about the policy changes that Jason sent out that has to be done? He sent us out an email about we have to make a policy change regarding banning books.
Oh,
Oh,
well, I was gonna talk about that in my report.
okay.
Um, It's not in my report, I have a list of things that somehow did not manage to get it back, but.
Okay.
So if we were at the director's report, then I'll launch and start with that. So that was the HB, I think it's 2798. So they passed the House. I believe today they were voting in the Senate. At least it was, the committee was discussing it. So essentially, they want to have it to the libraries to not ban books. And if they do, then they'll lose funding to various state fundings. They said, so you either need a policy about that, or you can adopt the ALA's Bill of Rights or which we already have in our collection development policy. So as far as I know,
We don't have a
I don't think
policy
we have,
change to make.
we don't have a policy change to make. The only question in the air that some directors were talking about was whether having in the collection development policy, which we do, and most libraries do, having a request for reimbursement form, kind of a path for somebody to challenge a book. And if it gets past staff and me, to bring them to you all to discuss. Some directors were wondering whether that was violating the banning order or to not ban. Sorry, I'm not expressing it very well. But it's just a process for somebody's voice to be heard, to express their whatever concerns about a book. But once it gets to you all, you don't have to ban it. It's the end decision is for you all. And I think very rarely does a book in a public library actually get to that point and get banned. Usually, if it gets that far, usually what happens is, in the experience I've seen, it's usually a YA book, and maybe the YA book gets moved into adult to be a more appropriate location for it, as opposed to staying in government. So I don't think that having the request for reconsideration pathway is in violation of what they're wanting. It's just somebody express their concerns. That's fine. So, I mean, hopefully I'll learn more and there might be an official say so down
So
the line, but it hasn't
that
even
would be
officially passed.
if that was a concern, that would be a change we would need to make to our policy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But as I understand it at the moment, I think we're good and we don't need any policy. That's what I wrote down from my memory. I don't know if that's.
We talked about the bill?
Yeah.
Oh, page 2789.
Ah,
89.
sorry,
And it's household.
I transposed numbers.
This is semantics. There's not anything that would prevent a youth from going and checking out a book anywhere from the library.
No.
Or the other way around, an adult could go and check out any young adult or kid book.
So which is sometimes what folks have issue with. But the freedom to read, the Bill of Rights from the ALA.
Yeah.
Says that they don't restrict.
Okay,
That's up to
fine.
you
That's
as
just what I
the
wanted.
individuals and the parents.
That's what I want to hear.
So I'm glad to hear that you all are in support.
Absolutely.
It's up to the parents to decide whether or not they want the kid to read it, not me to tell you what you can read.
Did what?
It's the after the house. Then everyone's at one books.
Right, that's probably true.
Yeah. Okay,
Um,
other things from your.
Other things. Oh, I guess I already mentioned we have 3 new library babies. So
Yay, that's wonderful news.
Amazing.
yes, indeed. Oh, I mentioned Ruben. Oh, and an additional thing that we're in terms of the going backwards for the Warhol.
Would you send us an email about the ribbon cutting for the Warhol thing?
Yeah.
So that we can just get it on our calendars.
Yes.
Thank you.
They additionally asked if we wanted soup can labels to go on barrels so that we can collect food for a food pantry. So we're gonna, I think, give that a try. So I've got to reach out
Lovely.
to food pantry. I think somebody, maybe me, is looking into barrels. Jackie's looking for barrels. Okay, so we're hopefully gonna get that going as well.
I said I do the
Oh,
collection,
that's
take
right.
care of the collection.
Paul is looking for it.
Yeah. but Paul's not here, so.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. An additional item, we're going to be getting the entry doors replaced. So we got quotes for that. I know it was part of the approved budget last year, so I didn't think they need to bring it again, but we got quotes
Well, the
from.
price keeps going up every day that we
We
wait.
have approved the bid.
Yeah,
They will be done.
okay,
Hopefully, by June is the latest, so we can pay for it out of this fiscal year.
good.
And the window
Yeah. and then-
seals and caulking.
Okay, good.
And then most recently this week, we had our sprinkler system inspected and they came back with a few things that need to be worked on and such support already for close to $7,000, which is, so that's an unexpected expense that will have, but I'm pretty sure since that's part of the sprinkler system and we have to have it. We have to do it.
What are they doing? Replacing that?
The
Well,
roots-
there's sprinkler heads, there's seals, they're gonna drain the whole system.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah. And just, you know, fire department gets word of this too.
But they don't have to run any of the.
So that's something you're gonna have to do.
No, not.
No, I think we're gonna
No, we won't.
take it up. Oh, initial thing, congratulations to Rick and Heather for your re-election. Congratulations and congratulations to Connie for joining us.
It's a tough fight.
So in May, we'll do the swearing in. Just wanted to point out a couple of personnel things. We now officially have Mary Kelly as the head of acquisitions and cataloging. And Kathy is the manager of marketing and communications, and Duncan as the IT manager. Indeed, and then we made Curie full-time.
Yay, excellent.
So now the two departments, adult and youth, have the same number of full-time. I believe those were all the highlights.
Those were good highlights.
Yeah.
Well done.
All right. Good. Any questions? Moving on to our other department reports. I was so happy to see that there are no openings right now. That's really, it's been a while, so that's, yay,
Thank you.
yay. I mean, I was excited to see that we had that under Paul's report that we had our first bilingual computer class,
There were so many good things on there.
8 participants and several on the wait list. That's exciting news. That's really great.
And move the next spots in here
Right,
to make sure that they have more people.
Right.
They can have it.
that's fantastic. Lots of good stuff happening. Lots of good stuff happening.
There are 80 people for the Sunday program.
It must have been packed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was, they were packed in and they stayed in, like, it was good, and even some small children that I didn't think they'd last very long, but darn, they.
That was amazing.
Were you at it? Sure. No.
I'm still not back in reality. I'm surprised I'm here. Right.
All right, any trustee comments about any of the other reports? Kathy, I feel like your report just gets longer every month. You're just doing some great work. So much going on there. Ooh. Yay. Library bingo. That looks fun. Excellent. Okay,
I just want to comment, self-checkout, almost up to 60%.
yay, that's exciting.
She bring the champagne in?
Yeah, I'll do this draft.
Sherry's been, she's been doing that for a long time on the board, trying to get that self-check up there. Do any of the managers have anything to add about your reports? Nothing? All right, well, you've written a lot, so it's good.
A lot of good stuff.
All right. Okay, well, I think we're gonna go ahead and go on to our president's report. Our next board meeting is the 17th. We will not have a committee of the whole meeting. but we will have the first efficiency committee meeting at 6:30 on May 17th. Oh, actually, let's backpedal a little bit. I want to talk about the this coming Sunday, our open house. And Kathy, do you want to talk a little bit about what we can do as board members for you?
So we are having our open house Sunday from 1 to 4. I'm going to for all this week. I will give you a flyer to take home. It is on our website in both English and Spanish. It gives a rundown of the things that we're doing throughout the day. As you know, we're using this opportunity to welcome Jason. We'll have a bit of a reception in this room, as well as we'll be doing demonstrations of our tech devices and our science kits and a few other things that we carry, because as you know, there's so much more to the story here at the library. That is the theme from National Library Week. So we want to take an opportunity to show off the library. We are going to have library tours. Mary Kelly and Ian will be doing library tours at 1:30 and 3. Diana and Miriam will be leading a Spanish tour at 2:15. Feel free to register for those tours, tell your friends. We're doing library bingo. That came about one of our initial meetings, just a way of trying to engage our library visitors and walking around, asking questions of staff, or otherwise spotting something. Questions? Lori, can you help me out here? They're
One of the
really
questions is how many items can a person have checked out on their card at one time, which, believe it or not, is 200. If they're a SWAN member. If they're a non-SWAN member, it's only 50. But the answer that we're going to give you is 200 because we're going to single. And they, one of the other things is for them to engage with the library catalog to find out if the library has their favorite movie. If they have,
Good things like just find the discovery text for kids where we keep those. Locate all 18 computers in the library. So there's a high level of trust in this bingo game that people will be going around and making their own check marks or writing in answers. But we have prizes here for just getting bingo. Remember, we all remember playing bingo.
Yeah.
5 across, 5 down. That can go to any library visitor, but if you complete the entire bingo sheet, you're eligible for a drawing that we're having for a full-size iPad. When I say you, I don't think all of you are included. Sorry, I can't. We have, I will say Lori and
Is that
Dave-
because we get paid so much?
Yeah. So that was, Lori came up with many of the idea and putting together all of the options, and David, and our graphic designer worked with her. We've got it English, and we also have it in Spanish.
Excellent.
So we're playing bingo that day. We've got this lovely bag, which you'll all be getting one after the event. I did bring one, but we've got 4 or 5 little library tchotchkes we're putting in your pens, magnets, notepads. These are for the first 100 to arrive on Sunday. We have some nicer gifts for National Library Week for Sunday through Saturday. If people register for a library card, we've got some nicer little tchotchkes that we normally give out. What we don't use this week, then we will use in September for National Library Card Sign-up Month. So that's everything we've got going on. Oh, and did I mention Jason doing the room creations also? That's a big draw. Jason and his wife will be in our services area. He'll be in here from 1 to 2:30 on Sunday, then he'll be back in the youth services area, making balloons.
Flying faster.
No.
Thank God.
So how can we help you?
So how can you help? So I have some options here. I have two, we'll have two breeder stands, one here in Stafford Place, one as we come up the top of the stairs. So I figure from like, say, 12:55 to 2:30. I would need someone on either. We have also staff, so you'd be with the staff number.
Okay.
I handle the droves of people that I'm sure will be coming. Please tell your family and friends. Beyond that, we have some people in here with Jason, say from, again, maybe kind of break it up, all 55, so you're in here and ready to go till 2, but maybe like from 1:30 till 2:30. Again, we're in here till 4, so then also say if someone from 2 to 3, and someone else maybe from 2:30 to 3:30. Then if someone wants to just be a floater, have a name badge on, approach people about what the library board does. Someone would like to do that. So, why do you want to see me after the meeting? I got a slide.
Okay.
So, let me just say, if you want to come for, like, say, the earlier shift, I ask that you, park in the lower level parking lot and come up the stairs. And actually, it'll be locked down, but Mary Kelly has offered, she'll be there at about 12:30. So like either you need to be in the building. We're going to have a roundup, I'm calling it, at 12:45 with all staff and any board members who are here will just briefly go through a few points, for the day. So that either you're here at 12:30 or like just come at 1 o'clock and come in through the staff place.
Where do we come in at 12:30?
The lower level parking lot.
Okay, we can get in through those doors.
Well, Mary Kelly will be there. They're not normally open, but
Okay.
she'll be waiting, say from like 12:30 to 12:40.
Okay,
So then we can all, like I said, get up here and have a roundup with everybody.
great.
Wear your library shirt. Wear the library, have the yellow hat. Jackie will have name tags for you.
I have.
You have them.
Certainly go look for it.
Okay, so she'll have those ready for you.
Cindy, will you be here Sunday?
I am going to try.
Okay,
Thank
because
you.
you had taken your name tag home at one time, do you know where it is? Otherwise, Ian will make one new one.
I think that I turned it in when we were meeting in that with Jason and met him, and I turned it in that night.
Pardon? Yeah. he'll make
Okay.
a new one.
All right.
So as part of the roundup, I want to try to take a team picture, seeing all staff, all board members who's ever here. I think that's it. Like I said, I have these bags for you. I will, if you're here on Sunday, have them sign me, and I will hand you your bag. They're separate from what we're giving out to our public. Alrighty. And while I'm here, can I mention in May, I was taking some pictures. We have a new board, so we'd like to take a nice full board picture that the night of that meeting.
Okay.
And then as part of IFLAR compliance, I'm going to marketing include anybody to do this, however. Give a tour of the facilities to all of the board members. And that would include like going in areas that we will not be taking people on Sunday. Some of them can't pull in our storage space.
So you want to do that in the main meeting?
Well, not that at the meeting, no, that has to happen by end of June. So
Okay.
Jason and I talked, I think it will be on the board agenda for me to find a time. Either you can all come together or if we have to do it separately.
And this is a requirement.
IFLAR, Illinois.
Annual report.
That's it, AR. annual report.
Is it possible for us to build it into, how long do you think it'll take?
Jackie. I would say we're looking at, like, our tour for the public is at least a half an hour and then some. but again, we have to go into some areas of the building. I'd say 45 minutes.
Okay, at the next board meeting, maybe we can determine if we think we're gonna have a heavy agenda in June, and if we aren't, maybe we can just do it at the end of the meeting. Okay. Then we don't have to find a time. We're already here.
Okay, I'm gonna put that around town on Sunday, so.
What did you say, Jane?
And I will be out of town, so.
On Sunday?
Yeah, I don't, I'm leaving
No, we're not gonna be in the
Friday
same place.
for actual to visit my great nephew.
We know what you're up to. Well, we will miss you. I'll be there.
That's why I'm not saying.
All right, I understand. But tell all your friends to come, and your neighbors. You don't have to be a library, you don't have to have your card, you don't have to even live in Warrenville to come and check us out.
We can get you a card. Oh, you can.
Who does the Facebook for? I just, work for residences, work with community. I don't know, do you think they would be interested? Well, I tagged them in some of the stuff. It's a good idea. Sure, we're good.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and to your team, whoever has been involved, looks like Lori has. Has everybody been involved? Thank you, everybody.
Everybody's done well.
Choice.
Or will be.
Stronger.
Was there anything on the electronic sign out there?
I believe so. I went to Paula and she said, anyone seen it? I don't.
Yeah, I
know.
have
I've
seen
seen
it.
it.
Great.
I also
It's like I
received
take
an
the
email.
shortcut around the post office, so I don't see electronic sign.
I believe if it hasn't been already, it will be in their weekly newsletter, which I think is on Friday.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And many of us would be here to support this effort. Okay, so on Saturday, May 13th, we've got a trustee forum virtual workshop. A meeting of the Kleintown Public Library, a look inside how to run an efficient and effective library board meeting. Ha! I could run that. And then the Laconia banquet that Heather and I are attending. I'm excited about that because we're going to get to hear Joe Philip, our good friend.
Very nice.
And the ALA conference is coming up. So
That's in Chicago this year, so. if you're interested, it's at Hall Pass.
So which days is the whole pass for, or is it, I don't think it's all 4 days, is it? Or
I think it is, but.
I
I'll
thought
double
for
check.
some reason it was like a day and a half or something.
I'll double check.
okay. Now on to our treasurer's report. Okay. Sandy?
All right, as everybody read, we've gotten a donation from Amy Harmon into our DuFaith Foundation, and it's going to be an annual donation, which is really nice.
What is the amount?
Don't know.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
whatever
it
it is, we want it.
But it's just nice that it's going to be not just a one-time, it's a yearly
Do you
donation.
know who Amy Harmon is?
I have no idea who she is.
She had reached out to Sandy before Sandy attacked.
Oh, I just wondered if she was someone significant in the Warrenville community that I should know.
No, I don't know who she is either.
I don't know.
But she is someone significant.
She's given us money.
Yeah, right.
Besides that.
I do know the amount, and it's $5,000.
5,000.
Nice.
Which is really nice considering that's a yearly donation.
Indeed,
That will
very generous.
really be able to do a lot. They can really help to make the space.
I was thinking-
Well, so it is going directly, I think she's selling stocks. I don't know exactly how that all works, but then proceeds that go to our account at the DuPage Foundation. So it's not necessarily
Directly to us.
directly money that we can use, but it helps build and grow that
Yes.
account so that then our annual disbursements are hopefully get a little bit bigger. So, yeah, so very generous.
Anything else to report, Sandy?
That's it. Everything looks good.
Oh, good. That's what I was waiting to hear. And how about you, Madam Secretary?
Everything looks great.
Okay.
And sorry, I won't be here on Sunday.
Okay, we will miss you. Trustee comments? Rick, you look like you're ready. Ready with a comment?
Well, I think that we ought to let Cindy do the final
Okay.
motion.
I think that's a fine idea. Oh, do you have a comment,
I
Jerry?
have two things. First of all, my calendar told me today, and I'm sharing two things. Don't forget to fill out your conflicts of interest with the county. Let's do May 1st, if you've already done so. And I would just like to tell, we can thank her, Taylor, who's at the Health and Wellness Fair. She had quite a following, and many of my neighbors have come and what a great job she did. So I'm passing that out because it was. Sure did. Very good. Thank you.
Fantastic. I did forget about that economic interest thing. I
Just-
announced it
just
last month.
Just came up today, so I'm sure I'm not the only one.
I filed it just before the meeting started.
Oh, so please do, once you get your file report back, if you could just shoot a copy of that to Jason, so then he knows who we have to.
I had taken it off your report because I'm curious as to if you hadn't filed yet, but I had logged in online to double check and it looked like everybody had filed, so that's why I took it off.
Yay!
No, I didn't do
I have
that.
not.
You have a file?
Nope.
Well, then I must have read something wrong. Then
Yeah.
I will double check again and remind everybody who's to file it, that you should file.
I don't know, I need to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
we've
did
got
too.
like a week and a half.
See, I
And if
wonder if mine's not just because I filed it in December, I did my canopy. That doesn't count for this.
No.
So, no, like I said, I filed it, gave Jason.
They're trying to trip you up.
Yeah.
If you have any
Forget about the
questions
budget
about it,
workshop.
if you remember last month, Jason had included some pages from the IML, the Illinois Municipal League, which are really informative about what you do and don't have to
Yes.
report. And if you have questions about that, you can just go onto the IML website and look at that. If you don't have your pages from your packet last month.
It was really, really nice having that. We didn't have that last year.
No, we sure
There were a
didn't.
lot of
They worked on it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people had those
It
questions.
was really nice to have that.
All right, I think we're ready for our final motion. Cindy?
I move that we adjourn our meeting at the Board of Public Library at 7:51.
7:51.
7:50.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Ritzica, seconded by trustee Lazan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hey.
We are adjourned.
But we'll still see. Don't have